What's up, everyone? John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo here with an Android smartphone smackdown. On the left-hand side, we have the challenger, the HTC built EVO 4G running on Sprint's network. And on the right-hand side, we have the defending champion, the Droid Incredible, running on Verizon Wireless. So during these tests, we're going to cover some of the key features. We're going to go over spec, speed, some differences between the two, and we're ultimately going to declare a winner. So let's talk about the geeky specs and get those out of the way. The first thing you're going to notice when you look at these two devices is the screen size on the EVO is huge. It is a 4.3-inch screen, which is significantly large, versus a 3.7-inch screen found on the Droid Incredible. Both, interestingly enough, have screen resolutions of 480 by 800, which means that the Incredible has a higher pixel ratio per inch than you're going to see on the EVO. Something to keep in mind. Battery is going to be a big concern with both these devices. The EVO packs a 1500 milliamp hour battery compared to a 1300 on the Incredible. They both use different screen technologies as well. They're both sort of multi-touch capable capacitive screens, but the EVO uses TFT technology, whereas the Incredible uses AMOLED. As we go through this, you'll see some differences between the two, and I'll highlight them as we go along as well. From a memory standpoint, they both have 512 megabytes of RAM. Whereas the EVO has 1024 megabytes of ROM compared to 512 megabytes on the Incredible. Both have 8 megapixel cameras with LED flash, which are very impressive. However, the EVO can shoot HD video at 1280 by 720, which is 720p, whereas the Incredible shoots video at WVGA, which comes out to 800 by 480. So a big difference there. Sort of going through the general specs, they're both running Android 2.1 with HTC Sense UI, and they both have the same processor, the Qualcomm-built 1 GHz Snapdragon processor, which is very capable. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about what I use phones for the most, and probably what you use phones the most as well, internet. So, we both are running on different networks. We've got Sprint on one, and we have Verizon on the other. And network-to-network speed, I have about 1 to 2 bars here where I am, so let's see if this is a fair comparison. We're going to load up technobuffalo.com, a site that's been loaded on each multiple times, so it'll be a representation of a site you visit on a regular basis. But before we start doing anything, I want you to see we're starting from the same basis here. So I'm going to use task killer to kill all running applications. Use it here on the EVO. Kill all selected apps. Alright, let's go ahead and launch this up. So we'll go to the internet on each. And we'll queue up Techno Buffalo. Alright, so we've got the URL ready to go on each. I'm going to go ahead and hit go at the same time. And again, this is a network speed test. We've got 2 bars of EVGO Rev A 3G service on the Incredible, and we've got 2 bars of 3G service EVGO Rev A on Sprint. The EVO 4G is obviously a 4G capable device. However, I don't have 4G where I'm at, so we can't test those blazing speeds, although we'll talk about them in a few minutes. Let's go ahead and hit those green buttons at the same time. And we are off. And I've tested many sites using both networks, so I can give you sort of a tale of whether or not the speeds that we're going to see here are representative of what I saw overall. Looks like Sprint's got a little bit of an edge here. Content's already showed up on the EVO. Just showing up there now on the Incredible. And Sprint is done, and Verizon looks like it's still loading. And this is pretty fair for what I've seen. Generally, the EVO loaded web page is about 1 to 2 seconds faster than I saw on the Incredible. Something to keep in mind. Now, as you can see here, there's some content sort of moving around. That's because both of these are capable of Flash. So they can play Flash content. However, don't have thoughts of Hulu because Hulu is not going to play on either of these. Don't even ask. I tried. It was the first thing I tried. I got so excited. But something to keep in mind. So as I mentioned, both are multi-touch, pinch to zoom. Now, and because they both have the same screen resolution, they're going to show the same content. However, things are just going to look bigger on the 4.3-inch screen, and text is going to be a bit easier to read because it's going to be a bit larger and less straight on your eye. Something to sort of keep in mind as you're looking at these. So I will say click on an article here. I'll double click. And you can see it sort of zoom up and the text looks nice and clear. Same thing here on the Incredible. You can see that they both show exactly the same thing. It's just a little bit larger here on the EVO. So let's go ahead and turn on Wi-Fi and do a speed test and see if that is any difference. And I'm going to do this live on camera so you can see that there's no funny business going on. We'll go ahead and go to Settings, Wireless Networks, turn on Wi-Fi, do the same thing here as well. And you can see that Wi-Fi is now turned on the Incredible, and it should be turned on in just a moment here on the EVO, and now it is. So we're going to go ahead and reload Techno Buffalo, and we're going to see if there's any sort of speed difference as well. Go back up to the top. Hit the green buttons on each one more time, and we'll see if the speeds are the same, if we get the same results. And as this is loading, you can probably see the difference between the screen technologies, the TFT and the AMOLED. It's a personal preference thing. I personally like the way the TFT looks. And while I was still talking, both of these loaded at almost exactly the same time. And that was definitely what I saw. Spec for spec, they're pretty close to identical as far as processing power. And that translates into real-world load time. Something to keep in mind. So let's talk about this big screen size, because it's something to it's either pro for some or a con for others. It is big. Certainly when you stack these two on top of each other, you can certainly see that there is a difference. If you're an emo kid and you wear tight jeans, you're going to have a hard time fitting the EVO in your pocket. And the Incredible is going to be the way to go. However, if you've got sort of some loose-fitting pants and you fit things in your pockets a lot, I think the screen size on the EVO is just about as large as is tolerable for a smartphone. But that screen size makes a few things kind of interesting. For example, typing is very easy to do on the EVO because the screen is so big. The keyboard is just as large. So even now when it's in portrait, you've got a very large keyboard. Look at this keyboard now on the Incredible. Go ahead and launch it up as well here. So new message. And you can see the differences there between the two keyboards. I mean, one is much larger. You put your finger over a key, you can see what it covers. The same here, when you switch it over into landscape, the difference is even more noticeable. I mean, the keyboard is just huge. So if you made any errors when you're typing or you got big fingers, it's definitely going to be something that you're going to want to keep in mind. I think the keyboards on Android phones are fantastic as they are, and HTC made them even better. The autocorrect features on here are probably second to none, and I think that they're even are starting to pass those I've seen on the iPhone. So, you know, if you're not used to a non-physical keyboard, having a larger one is going to reduce your mistakes. Let's go ahead and kick these both back up into landscape mode. Let's continue to talk about differences because there are still a lot more to cover with these two devices. Like get them back in focus here. So the big differences here is obviously 4G and screen size. So if you're fortunate enough to be near a 4G network, it's going to be a no-brainer decision for you. You're going to get speeds of up of 10 megabits per second down, which for a mobile phone is totally unheard of. So there are a few other things we want to talk about as well. First, let's discuss cameras. Since we already talked about the back, let's talk about the front. The EVO 4G has a 1.3 front-facing camera hiding right above the Sprint logo. And that can be used for video calling, video chatting, and even use as a regular camera for pictures or video. You can use it over Quick, you can use it over Fring or any other Skype plugin, and it does work quite well. Over Wi-Fi, quality is pretty clear. Over 3G, it does get a bit choppy, but it's nice to have. Really nice to have that option. 4G again is another big difference. The display is sort of the piece de resistance here. 3.7 inch versus 4.3. One cool thing that the EVO does bring to the table, which we're starting to see in a few more smartphones, is actually HDMI out. So on the bottom there, right next to the USB port, there is an HDMI. You can see it labeled right there. HDMI. And you can plug this into your television, and you can actually watch a video right from your phone on your flat screen, which is kind of neat. The EVO also brings something new to the table. It brings YouTube HD, or higher quality YouTube videos, which you can watch on its gorgeous display. And sort of speaking of video, it also has on the back a kickstand, which you can go ahead and kick right out. See that right there? And you can use it to prop it up while you are watching your content. It's not a huge feature, but I have found it to be quite nice. I like to watch sometimes some YouTube videos when I'm in bed or sitting at a desk. It does make it a lot easier than holding the phone in your hand. And if you watch a video when you're on an airplane, for example, you're going to really appreciate that kickstand. Go ahead and push that back. Design, there are some key differences here as well. The Incredible has an optical trackpad, which you can use to sort of navigate around, and I like having that. You lose out on that on the EVO 4G. It's sort of relying only on your finger to navigate around. Both do have the same 4 capacitive buttons across the bottom, although the circles around these to make them do look physical, but rest assured they are just capacitive buttons. So let's sort of recap the differences here between the two. First, 4G is sort of the main one. The display, the 4.3 versus 3.7, HDMI out. One last thing is that Sprint is capable of being used as a mobile hotspot, albeit for additional fee. But if you are near 4G, it's certainly going to be worth it to have. Connect up to 8 devices over Wi-Fi using 4G speeds. It's actually going to be faster to do some gaming on too, so keep in mind for that as well. Design is a bit different. HD quality video is something that's really is a big determining factor. If you want to ditch your, let's say, Flip Minnow or Pocket HD video camera, you can do that now with the 720p recording capabilities of the EVO. And then finally, the front-facing camera is sort of the big difference as well. If all things are equal, if you have good Sprint coverage, you have good Verizon coverage, and you can pick up either phone on a new contract, it seems to be a very clear decision for me that the EVO 4G just brings a lot more. Which is really a testament to how good the phone is, because the Incredible does so much and does so much so well. But at the end of the day, 4G capabilities, front-facing camera, larger screen, HDMI out really do it for me with the EVO. I've been very happy with Sprint's coverage and service. Where it's available, it works very well. I have very few drop calls. Call quality on each are fantastic. Certainly you can't go wrong with Verizon's network, but if you do have Sprint service where you are, I think you'd be hard-pressed to not go with the EVO 4G. Anyway guys, I'm John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo, and I hope you enjoyed this sort of head-to-head comparison of these two Android behemoths. For all of your tech news, be sure to check out technobuffalo.com. You can interact with users in our built-in social network, or even create your own subblog with full WordPress content management, and even put in your own ad code and make a couple bucks, because who doesn't want to make a couple bucks? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.